It sounds cliche, but the smallest details really can make the biggest difference in your outfits, especially if you've done everything right but you still feel like something's missing. Today I want to make it really easy for you to pick out and incorporate those small details to give your outfits a massive upgrade. I'm going to go through some specific tips and advice, and you can just pick out the ones that work for you. Up first is going to be higher waisted pants. Notice I didn't say high-waisted, just higher waisted. Very high waisted pants can work, but they're not for everyone. But going higher waisted than you usually do could make a big difference, especially if you've only tried low waisted pants before. I'm going to crudely illustrate this with a pair of stretchy waistband pants. Look at the difference when I wear them lower on the body versus higher on the body. When worn higher, they reproportion the outfit into something that is generally a lot more pleasing. You may have heard of the rule of thirds in photography and fashion, and outfit proportions follow this same formula. High-waisted pants raise that cut-off point between your top and bottom half, and it moves it further up the body, creating that aesthetically more pleasing split. Pants with a really low rise won't allow you to go this high, because there's literally not enough material by design. But as I said, you don't have to find the higher waisted pants you can possibly find. In fact, that might be the worst thing you could do. You might just want something that is mid-rise. If you want to try this, when you're next buying pants, look specifically for the rise measurement, or look out for keywords like mid or high rise in the description. The Ralph tuck, as it's affectionately known, was popularized by the man himself, Ralph Lauren. In reality, it was likely used as a way to show off more layers of the clothes he was trying to sell on mannequins and models. But it caught on as people actually started to like the way it looked, and over the past few years, it's become really prevalent again in men's fashion. The idea is simple. Do up the bottom one or two buttons of your shirt, tuck it into your pants, and then leave the remainder of the buttons undone. This does two things. The simple act of tucking in your top has that same effect of higher waisted pants. It gives you that visual split between top and bottom and can create that pleasing proportioning. It also gives this half tuck look, which is casual but intentional. Fellow fashion enthusiasts will give you a nod when they see you wearing your shirts like this. Another small thing you can do to make shirts look way more stylish is to simply roll up the sleeves. There's two ways to roll them up. First is the neater way. This is what you'll want to do for your smart outfits to work or out for dinner. Undo both buttons of your sleeve and fold it all the way up to your elbow crease. You should still be able to bend your elbow. Then simply do one more fold over that to give a tidy edge. This will hold all day and it looks professional. Second is the casual way. This works especially well on relaxed and oversized shirts. In fact, it's pretty much necessary unless you want to look like you're wearing your dad's clothes. As you can see, no tutorial needed really. Just keep folding until it feels right. An organized mess is the name of the game here. The whole point of this is to give you a more casual and easygoing look. Accessories are an amazing way to upgrade your style with very little effort, and what's even better about them is that most of the time they're functional as well. So you shouldn't feel too guilty about spending a little bit more money on a nice accessory, in my opinion. There are three main ones that I think everyone should try. First are sunglasses, which are extremely important to protect your eyes, but they just happen to look great as well, upgrading the style factor of any outfit. There are thousands of choices and varieties out there, so I'll just talk about some of my favourites at the moment. If you've watched any of my videos this summer, you'll know I'm loving tinted lenses recently. Two of my recent pickups are the Aquila logos with the yellow lenses and the Tom Ford Addisons with the green lenses. Two very different styles, but I've been able to fit them into every outfit in my wardrobe. Nothing is off limit these days. In terms of shape, these are pretty basic compared to what's out there. My favourite part about both of these is that they can be worn all day to protect your eyes against the UV rays, and then because of the low opaque lenses, I can continue wearing them into the evening and even indoors if I like. It's a bit of a hipster Hollywood look, but if you consider your sunglasses to be part of your outfit, then these are going to work for you. Another important accessory that I've come to appreciate so much over the past few years is a watch. They're subtle yet powerful items when it comes to style, and I'm delighted to be working with There for today's video to showcase one of their incredible timepieces. This is the There C3 Korean War Field Watch. It's based on a classic World War II design that is simply timeless. It will never go out of style. I have it with the khaki strap on at the moment, which gives off a more rugged and tactical look, but you could switch it out for the stainless steel strap, and then you could easily wear this watch more formally. Besides its stunning design, there's actually a lot more going on in the background that makes this watch even more appealing. They're set up in 2016 with a mission to create watches that outshine the big brands, but at a fraction of the cost. And as you can see from their lineup, they have totally achieved that. But it doesn't stop there. A large number of their watches are actually assembled in the USA, including this one I'm wearing today, and Wear have still been able to keep their prices super affordable. This watch is also the solar-powered variant, which uses a Japanese-made Epson VS22 movement. It will last up to 6 months on one charge, and it can be recharged very simply just using a table lamp if needed. I love the old school utilitarian design. Like with any watch, it's such a small proportion of your outfit, but makes a massive difference in my opinion. And the quality of the build and movement is so satisfying. I'll leave a link to this watch down in the description box below. Thank you to Wear for sponsoring today's video. The last accessory that will have a huge impact on your style are hats. Baseball caps for summer, beanies for winter, and any hat in between, whatever works for you. I inherited this incredible Australian rancher hat from my granddad. It doesn't suit me at all, but I appreciate it. And on the right person, this would look incredible. And it's so low effort. Practically, hats protect your head from the sun or keep you warm during those colder months. But stylistically, they offer a different and more interesting shape, pop of color, change of texture. These small things do add up and can completely transform your style for the better. So we've talked about the trouser rise at the top where they sit on your waist, but it's just important to think about the trouser length at the bottom where they sit over your shoes. It's called the trouser break, and there's basically 3 that you need to know about. A full break is where the hem extends significantly past the top of the shoe, creating a deep crease and sometimes a second fold in the front. The fabric covers most of the laces and falls close to the shoe sole at the back. This gives off a very traditional or vintage kind of vibe. A half break is where the hem rests lightly on top of the shoe, creating one subtle, shallow horizontal fold in the front crease. This is usually considered the best for most people, given a classic and balanced look. No break is where the hem of the trousers skims barely above or right at the top of the shoe without resting on it. There is zero fold or crease in the front fabric line, and this is often considered more modern, a more sharper or European look. One thing to keep in mind is to try and match the width of your trousers with the break, because for example, narrow trouser hems will catch easily on the shoe, so it might be better to consider no break in this case. Fuller or wider legs drop cleanly over the shoe, allowing you to go for that half or full break. Try each one out and go with whichever one is best for you and the occasion you're attending. Another thing I like to do when things feel stale is to simply mix the fits up. It's really easy to get stuck into just one kind of cut of clothing. Slim top with slim bottoms makes a lot of sense on paper, as does oversized tops with oversized bottoms. These both work and they're great, but simply mixing them up can add a lot to your outfit. For example, instead of baggy on baggy or slim on slim, try slim on top with baggy on bottom, or the other way round. All of a sudden, you have a different look which is still stylish, and it took very little cost or effort. As I said guys, it's simple stuff today, but it can make a huge difference. This one might feel a little overplayed if you're in the fashion sphere, but realistically most people aren't, so I think this is gonna help. If you're bored to death of how your outfits look, try completely changing the shoes. As in, totally the opposite of what you think you should be wearing. The best example of this is instead of jeans and sneakers, go for jeans and loafers. Or instead of smart trousers and leather shoes, go for smart trousers and some slim sneakers. It's called wrong shoe theory, and it plays on the intentional clash of styles, which doesn't work for everything, but with certain shoes and styles it does. And it can look super stylish without much effort. This is one of those that does seem silly at first, but once you try it out, you might really like it. The last style hack, if you can even call it that, is probably the most simple in today's video. While colourful outfits are great, they're so easy to get wrong and can look a bit messy if not done tastefully. It's properly difficult to get colours right, so don't beat yourself up if you can't figure it out. I certainly haven't. The solution then is to simply wear less colour, either dial it back a bit by only incorporating 1 or 2 pops of colour, or stick to blacks, whites, greys, neutrals, and much more muted and pastel colours. This small change can instantly transform an outfit from clownish to chic, and it's something I always fall back on if I feel like my outfits don't look stylish enough. So there's a bunch of small details and changes you can make to your outfit that will have a huge impact. I don't do all of these at once, I just keep them in mind and incorporate them when and where they make sense. I'd love to know if you have any more tips. Do let us know down in the comments below. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.